Well, how do you get involved in a £2 million property deal or a £3 million property deal? It's very easy. I'll share it with you. The way that the rich do it, they'll set up a company and they'll buy a property. There's 25% shareholders in the legal owning company. They'll add value to it and then they'll put it on the market. They'll sell it. They'll get £1 million lift on it. They share £250,000 each. This is the first time I'm going live, by the way, guys. So you're going to have to forgive me and we'll try and improve it. And I'm going to try and go live a lot more regular. Hi, Monty. Thank you. All sound is good. All good sound. Thank you, mate. Everybody is after a deal. The question is, how do you get the deal? Point number 2 is, how can you quickly evaluate a deal? Point number 3, how fast can you move on a deal? And number 4 and 5 is, do you have your funds and your professionals, which include lawyers, architects, and so on, in place? That's really important. And then there's also the experience for what you're planning to do. But ultimately, it boils down to sourcing the deals and being able to transact on the deals. Let me give you an example. We had a deal offered to us, which was on YouTube and the other social medias, and it was a 1-bedroom flat on a road called, or just off of a road called the Edgware Road, which runs from Marble Arch down towards Kilburn. So it's a great location. From Marble Arch down halfway, which is the old Marylebone Road, I would say is very international. Mainly visitors from the Middle East. And London has a large influx of visitors from the Middle East, especially when it comes to the summer months. And when I'm talking about the summer months, I'm talking about the summer months in their countries, because the temperatures can hit almost 50 plus. We get very hot when it's like 30 or 28 or 29 or 30. So can you imagine what it's like when it's 50? And these countries, what they normally do is their population is given almost a month off. And one of the best places that they like to come, that they're familiar with, that they're used to, is London. Anyway, coming back to this property deal, a 1-bedroom flat was offered to us on the Edgware Road. Now, how did the deal come to us? It came to us via an agent. Apparently, the owner was in some sort of trouble. There's always a story. And as far as we're concerned, we just want to know, how much can we pick this deal up for? And what is the deal? So the agent says to me, Mont, we've got this flat. The owner is desperate to sell. He needs somebody to exchange and complete in 5 days. So I asked him how much. The price was, let me just double check, £350, £1,000 divided by 580 square feet was the size, which meant that we were buying it for £600 per square foot, which is a good price. How do I know it's a good price? Because the average price around the Edgware Road is about £1,000 per square foot. A 1-bedroom flat for £350,000. I knew that the value of it, with my eyes closed, is around £550,000. And based on the 5-day turnaround, there was an added bonus. The agent said to me that there's a sales pack that the owner can provide, which to me tells me that a sale has fallen through. That's why a sales pack's ready. And the sales pack has basically got information like the searches, the management pack, which is from the building management, and other documentation, which is part of the legal due diligence process that a lawyer would carry out as part of conveyancing. So it's been expedited. And what do I mean by expedited? Normally, these documents take about maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and sometimes a little bit longer, depending on the freeholder or the managing agent, and they were all in place. So I was like, all right, cool, let's do it. Went there, had a look at the flat, knowing that we could exchange and complete within 5 days. Went upstairs to the flat, and it was really weird because there's like 3 big guys just in the flat. And I was thinking to myself, at the time, I just thought maybe they're tenants and they're just showing us around. But I'll come to why they were there a little bit later in the video. Okay, so there were 3 guys in the flat. I was thinking to myself, these guys are tenants, but the guy was about 6 foot. He was like Tyson Fury, is about 6'10". Now, remember, I'm looking at this flat thinking it's 580 square feet and it's being offered to me for £350,000, which works out to be £600 per square foot. I've gone in and I like the flat. I like what I see. I like the building. I like the entrance. I like the way up. And there's something not adding up. And I'm thinking to myself, what's not adding up here? So I had my business partner, friend that I've known from childhood, and he said to me, Mon, this is not 580 square feet. So immediately when he said that, I was like, wow, you're right. This is not 580 square feet. And quickly I just said, it feels like 420 square feet or 400 square feet. You walked in, there was a small hallway to the right, there was a lounge. Off the lounge, there was a kitchen. In the middle of the hallway, there was a bathroom with just a shower. You could have had a bath as well. And to the left, there was a bedroom. Views outside the windows were nice, which is all a consideration. So what do we do? What do you do if you feel that the flat is smaller than you were offered and you're still interested and you want to make an offer without upsetting the owner who's thinking that you're trying to take advantage? What do you do? Well, in my experience, what you don't want to do is you don't want to take advantage and seem as though you're a person that's trying to leverage on the need for the seller who's in a desperate situation to sell. So I just had a word with the agent and I said to him, listen, I'm interested. We can do the deal. I can transact in 5 days, but I can't pay you the 350. And the reason that I can't pay you the 350, you can see this flat does not feel like 580 square feet. And he understood that. So he goes, okay, how big do you think it is? I said, I think it's about 400 square feet. Now, I came to see that flat at £350 per square foot, 580 square feet. Sorry, £350,000 for 580 square feet, which works out to be £600 per square foot. Now, you can tell by the way that I'm speaking and I'm thinking, this is exactly what happened. £600 per square foot multiplied by 400 square feet, which is the size. Off the top of my head, I think it worked out to be £257,000. So let's just double check that. Let me just do this here. So 600, that's the square footage. Multiply that by what I thought was 400 square feet, and it comes to £240,000. I think I said 257 or 253. Anyway, I thought that 250 would have been a bit too low, so I was prepared to pay a little bit more, and I offered £257,000, saying that I could do the deal. Now, there's a little bit of a experience that comes in here. So I asked the agent, who's the seller and how do you know him? And have you got exclusivity? Meaning that are you the only agent that is showing this property? He said, look, I'm direct with the owner, and but there are some other agents on it as well, because this guy's desperate. He's not just going to rely on me, which, okay, it makes sense. No problem. So I was like, okay, cool. I said, put the offer in, let the owner know. I'll send you an email and I'll explain on that email why I think it's worth the 257 to me and not the 350 because of the square footage. But I'm not being unfair. I'm still going to be paying him the equivalent of £600 per square foot, which is what the original offer was. But I'm only going to pay him £600 per square foot for the actual size of the flat. Fair enough. Anyway, put the offer through. Another 2 or 3 offers came in the following day, and it was proposed by the owner that there would be what we call a race for the contract. What does that mean? A race for the contract means that if the owner agrees your offer, he might also agree an offer from buyer B, C, D, and E. Their offers might be higher, they might be the same, and the owner can decide whoever comes first in terms of putting their money where their mouth is gets the purchase. So I was like, all right, cool. I was fine because I knew that I could transact in 5 days. We entered what we call a contract race. In order to put myself in a strong position, oh, this was weird, by the way. Not weird, it was a coincidence. They asked for our lawyer details. Agent comes back to me and goes, oh, you won't believe it, but the seller, his lawyer is DKLM as well. You're going to have to choose another lawyer. I was like, okay, no problem. We know them really well. We transact and we can give you another lawyer. So we appoint another lawyer. Papers go out. Important to note here is that if we know who the lawyers are for the seller and we have a relationship with them, then we can try and get them to really speed up our replies when it comes to the purchase. So it puts us ahead of the other people that were in the race. So the contracts come out, start working on due diligence. Now, how do I put myself in a position that I'm ahead of the game? I've got 5 days to transact on this. So what I do is I transfer the purchase funds of 275,000 plus stamp duty plus any other costs, and I transfer it into the lawyer's account, and I ask the lawyer to confirm to the other side that they are now holding funds. Once the lawyer confirms that to the seller that I've already transferred funds in readiness to transact on Friday, that gives the seller confidence that this person is serious, and it puts us in a prime position. And as soon as we did that, we also asked for the seller to blow out a certain number. We said that we only wanted to be in a contract race with 3 parties. He agreed, and it was then between 3 parties. We're now chasing the lawyers, asking them for an exchange and completion on the same day for Friday, and there's a spanner in the works. The spanner in the works was that the freeholders for the building are the church commissioners, which is part of the Church of England. And what they need is they need a reference check on the new buyers for every property that gets sold, and they charge the seller about £1,500 for that search or for that approval. So it's a money-making thing. Anyway, the way that you've got to provide those references is it's usually a financial reference and a personal reference. So we provided that straight away. The other 2 or 3 buyers failed to provide both references. Somebody provided a bank statement, the other one provided something else. We provided both, which put us into prime position. Supposed to complete on the Friday. We're now waiting with a delay for the church commissioners to approve us. In order for them to approve us, there's a middleman, which is the building block managing agents, which were Savills. For the water gardens, you can check it out, it's Savills. The person that was supposed to forward the references to the church commissioners wasn't answering emails, and they wasn't answering their phone calls. So in our experience, what do? We can either hold or we can get proactive and get the other side to be reactive because they're not doing their job. Emails, CC'd both lawyers, font size 18 in red, put the Savills person on notice, CC'd everybody, no reply. Next stage was to try and reach out to some of the big boys that we know, made a few phone calls, gave a name, and within the space of an hour, we were told that the person's away and they're going to be back tomorrow and they'll get onto it. They came back the day later, got onto it. Church commissioners approved the references. The other 2 or 3 people knocked out, and we exchanged and we completed on the deal on the same day. And that's how we purchased a 1-bedroom flat, possibly half a mile from Marble Arch, for £275,000, which I think is a good deal. What do we do with that property? Well, we've got options, and it's nice to have options. You can either resell it for, if it's worth 550, you could resell it for 450, and you make a quick £100,000. And at 275,000, you could also rent it out for circa 550 to 600 pounds per week. And at that level, you're earning a 10% rental yield. There were a lot of comments on the channels, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever. And a lot of people were trying to knock this purchase because of the service charge and because of the condition of the block. The Water Gardens is a 1970s block. Back in the days in the 1970s, it was the block. And it's a very popular block with a certain international profile that will pay big money for it. Or they just want to be in that block. Just give me 1 second. I've got somebody on the door. Very, very talented young friends here who I'm going to introduce to you in a moment. Can you hear me, Zach, by the way?
Yeah,
on the
Let me check it out.
on the thing. Yeah, just maybe check it out there, and then I'll introduce you in a second.
So-
Genius. Absolute genius when it comes to tech. Anyway, a lot of people have knocked and commented that the service charge is too high. The service charge is £5,000 per year, or just under. for a one-bedroom flat. The block doesn't have any facilities like a gym or a swimming pool. If it did, it would be 15 or 20,000 pounds. So 5,000 pounds service charge, which works out to be whatever it is per square foot, is not an extortionate service charge. And there's another thing that was important, which is part of the management pack and the searches that a lawyer would do, is that there is no major works planned. So that means that there's no reserve fund, there's no sinking fund, and there's no big expenses coming up. So we know that if we buy it with no reserve fund in place, no sinking fund, no major works planned, we can sell it and we're not going to have a problem. And on the basis of that, I think that a £5,000 per annum service charge is actually very good. So we transacted on it. It was supposed to take 5 days, but it actually took circa 2.5, close to 3 weeks. We got the keys, went there. The three guys or the three goons weren't there. Come, Zach, say hi. Hey, Zach.
Hey guys, how's it going?
This is Zaki. So this is the first live that we're doing.
Oh really? Congrats.
Yeah.
It
So,
sounds good. I just checked that out.
oh, does it? So
Sounds very
Zaki is a very talented young
I like
individual,
the lighting.
and he is got his own brand coming out very soon. So check it out, and it's called.
Natural.
I'm not gonna. Should we say? Should we say?
It's
that?
natural, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say what it's for.
Yeah. It's called Natural. And just to quickly, just confirm, how's it going to be sold?
It's going to be sold on
Listen
an
to this.
online Shopify store.
Come in.
But I won't be.
It's
I
going to
won't be
be.
holding any of the stock.
How do you sell stuff without holding stock?
So I'm partnering with a company called Printful, and they're going to handle all my orders for me. So if people buy on my Shopify store, it gets sent to Printful. They make it to order what you ordered and then send it directly to your house. And I just don't touch anything.
I don't get it.
It's
Don't
like
get it.
it's like essentially merch on demand. But they have all the stock and they have all the embroidery tools, because I want to go for a little
How
premium.
about quality? How do you get your quality
They have
right?
all ranges, so they have cheap clothing items, not just clothes, everything else, and they have really expensive. So I'm targeting the mid to high end.
So this is how you start a label and a clothing brand without holding any inventory. It's almost like Amazon selling all the stuff that they sell on their platform without owning anything, and
Yeah.
similar with Alibaba as well. Coming back to this deal, transacted on it, and the question was, why were the three guys there in the first place? And I clocked it. And there was a few comments that were made on the channel saying, why is there 3 locks on the door? The reason is, around that location, that's where rent to rent started. There's a few people that have got a lot of property on a rent to rent. On the streets of London, you've got to know what it's like on ground level. There's porters that are on the take. There's agents that are on the take. There's possibly others that are on the take. And as soon as a flat comes onto the market, certain individuals might get a phone call and they snap the flat up and they'll do a rent to rent on it, and they make good money with the Middle East tourists that come in, especially for 6 to 7 months a year. It's a good business. It's how rent to rent started back in the day, and these guys have been doing it for probably well over 25 years, and they've got hundreds of properties that they're doing on the rent to rent, and they're making a good living. One of the reasons that those 3 guys were there is because they were trying to protect the landlord against a rent to rent tenant coming in. I'm going to be trying to showcase deals on the streets of London. We live in an amazing city. I love it. There's certain locations where the fashion changes. Old Street is a little bit more artsy, and there's a certain fashion scene there. Fulham and Chelsea is a little bit more cravats and jackets and shirts. Knightsbridge and Mayfair is a little bit more designer, bling bling. And then you've got other areas in various parts of London where it's street culture. Brixton is very urban street culture, very hip as well. So we've got a lot of things to really appreciate and learn about London, which is our city, it's our home, and it's one of the best cities in the world. And they're the sort of things that we're going to be sharing. We're going to be sharing new restaurants, new hotels. Oh, there's a great Italian that's just opened up on Wigmore Street, which almost is like an Italian delicatessen. So I'm going to be going down there as well. And most importantly, I'm going to be sharing property deals and also trying to train you guys on how you can get involved in property deals where you think that it may not be possible. How do you get involved in a £2 million property deal or a £3 million property deal? It's very easy. I'll share it with you. The way that the rich do it is they have a carve up. Four mates will come in with £1 million each. They'll set up a company and they'll buy a property that's worth £4 million. Instead of one person owning it, there's four 25% shareholders in the legal owning company that buys that property. They'll all chip in, they'll add value to it, they'll refurbish it, and then they'll put it on the market, they'll sell it, they'll get £1 million lift on it, and they'll have on that £1 million, they share £250,000 each. And that's how they make money. So there's ways that we can do it. You've got to be creative. It's something that I've been doing for, if you look on my channel, I've been doing it under the banner of Sharia Homes, which was the Islamic property investment side. But I'm now sharing it on the streets of London, and it's a platform. I've got an amazing deal. I personally think that the spiraling costs of construction are making it harder. The spiraling costs of your workforce. I mean, how much does it cost for a tradesman on a daily rate? How much do you think it costs? We pay an experienced tradesman that we call an all-rounder between £200 and £300 per day. And the same all-rounder a couple of years ago may have been on £200 per day. So the cost is going up a lot. So how do you beat that? Well, the way that you beat it is you make your money on the purchase. You buy good deals and you're able to transact with cash with a group of people or a group of friends under a structure that protects you, where you legally own the property, and then you do your thing. And it's something that I'm going to be teaching you guys as part of my lives, as part of my potential courses, and it's going to be a journey. So today it was my first live. I hope you enjoyed it. hope you were here from the start of the story to the end of the story. Ed Ellaby, hi Monty, hi. All good, the sound, thank you. Perfect audio. Dutch pasta, yes. Yes, we can hear you. Dutch pasta, £5,000. Not too bad. Good, thank you. Love your videos. And I live nowhere near London. I'm from Cardiff. Thank you, Paul. Cheers, mate. Easy peasy. What's the name of the purple interior design book behind you? Thanks in advance. Trusting your partner is a big factor. Yeah, definitely. Walter. Pasta equals water. The interior design book is, let's have a look. Somebody's asked for this interior design book. This is it here, look. The Interior Design Inspirations, volume book 2. But can I just tell you something? Don't be too clever when it comes to interior design. If you've got a formula that works, just stick to it. If you look at the videos that I put out, and I always point out Victorian tiles, white blinds, period features, and these are all just simple stuff, and you don't have to be too clever. Wall panels, layers and lines, a bit of wallpaper, some nice wood floor. Quality is important, so just try and keep it simple. And when it comes to interior design ideas, it only works in certain locations. That's going to be epicenter, central London, where one of the buildings that I saw come on today was the Versace building, and there's a flat that's just become available. I think they're asking about £10 million for a Versace flat that was designed by Donatella Versace. I just thought it looked horrendous. So yeah, the interior design does work in certain areas. Notting Hill would be one, where it's very cool vibe. Primrose Hill would be another one. I'm going to leave it here. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it, and I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you soon, okay? Take care. Bye.